workout doesn't officially begin until pain arrives. You see, greatness is right on the other side of pain. So what are you running from it for? You say you want to be successful, then push through it. Stop making excuses and go get it. Very few battles are won under ideal circumstances. So you gotta simulate and practice the unknown so that the unexpected will not derail you. Every morning when you get up, ask yourself, how can I put myself in a place where I'll be uncomfortable? See, you have to master the unknown. You gotta master your fears. You gotta master the unexpected. So when it happens, you are prepared. Champions can push through and keep going when everyone else around them is quitting. They have immersed themselves in pain so often that they have become immune to it. Greatness is on the other side of pain. Go get it! The more you expose yourself to pain, the more comfortable you will become in its presence. A champion's workout doesn't officially start until pain arrives. Everything else is just a warm-up. A boxer can be the best technician in the world, but if he gets in the ring and the first time he gets hit, he falls apart, he's not going to be a champion, I tell you that. See, in life it's just like that with us. We're good until we get hit in the face, but what separates champions from the rest is when they get hit, they keep coming. When you hit them a second time, they get stronger. And by the third time that life hits you and you're still standing, the world will know there's a champion in the ring. How bad do you want to be successful? Do you want it bad enough to get hit in the face? Because I tell you right now, that's what life's going to do to you. It's going to hit you when you least expect it. When you got your guard down, how will you respond? Refuse to let the world break you. Show life what a champion looks like.
All right, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Today is Friday, November 13th, man. Beautiful day. God woke us up this morning, so our purpose is not done on this earth, man. So hope everybody had a good night's sleep, man. We're in for a super treat today. Guys, we got a guest coming on today. His name is Harvey Grajales. Is the senior vice president out of New York. He's actually Colombian, Hispanic, perfect. You guys are gonna be able to relate. And he actually grew up here in St. Petersburg, and now he moved to New York, and he tells everybody he's from New York, but really he's from St. Petersburg. You know what I mean? Nah, I'm messing with, man. So guys, please make sure you guys text your teammates. Let's go. Let's get our attendance over 100. Okay. Making sure you guys are taking tons of notes, and you guys, I believe, right, this is one of the best speakers and one of the best stories in all of Primerica. So try not to cry. All right. Try not to cry today and just stay in it, because this is going to be awesome. And this is one of my best friends in business, one of my mentors, man. Senior Vice President Harvey Grajales. Give it up for him, guys.
What's up, y'all?
Let's go, Harvey. Let's go, man.
This
Let's
money
go.
this morning. This is what I'm talking about. Get breakfast, baby. You guys are up here ready to get breakfast this morning. This is what it's about, man. So we all have a kindred connection in spirit, man. We all want to win, and we all want to get to the next level. So salute to you cats, man, because you could have been doing anything else this morning. You could have been doing, and I see some of you guys are driving, but that don't matter. You're here. And that's one of the most important things we look for, man. So we have that connection already, right? You may not have the results that we have, right? You may not be where we're at, but I promise you, I've been where you're at, all right? And that somebody might just be a little bit ahead of you, right? I'm just looking back and I'm telling you, you're doing the right thing. Keep it up. No matter, it don't matter. You guys have all heard this, right? It doesn't matter what has happened. What matters is what I'm about to make happen. You get what I'm saying? It's not about where we're at. It's about where we going. And I see the team right now. I think you guys are, what you at, 47? I think in the last 2 or 3 days, you guys fell asleep on the recruiting. just to be quite honest with you, right? Because I wake up morning and ask Edward, by the time he look at his phone, I'm already like, yo, congrats, bro, you number one. This, that, and the third. So I'm just letting you guys know, hopefully that gets, and listen, if you're a winner on this call and that did not get under your skin, I need you to stop hugging your pillow because you're probably sleeping right now. Get out of the fetal position, right? Because number one, Mario don't deserve to be well, he might deserve to be number one, but hell, I believe this team need to be number one. Why not? You feel me? And promise you, Edward did not coach me on saying that shit. And every now and then something's gonna come out my mouth. Pray for me, please. Right? Pray for me. It's a lot of work happening for me. So if I do curse, listen, don't get mad at Edward. Don't call Glenn Williams or whoever, right? Just pray for me. Do something proactive and pray for the boy, please. But yeah, man, let's go take that number one. Y'all, I feel like I'm on the squad, right? Like you don't understand, man. So let me tell you a little bit about my story before I start coaching you cats this morning. And I see some of my good social media friends on here as well. Right. And some of my friends out there had a blast with Leighton right out there, man. Leighton, man, I'm rooting for you cats over there, right, as well, man. You guys are rocking and rolling. Let's get this money, man. So let me, he said, Abel, I see you over there. Abel, I see you. What's going on, champ? And hey, man, listen, you guys have, man, I ain't even finna get Edward no more credit, man. Screw that. I'll come back to him in a second, right? But yo, listen, so let me tell you a little bit about my story, right? And hopefully this moves you a little bit, right? But I've been in the country now 12 years legally, right? Like you said, we're Colombian or whatnot, right? But I'll take you back. I'll go even further and above and beyond for your team, Edward, and tell you guys like the whole nine, man. And we're gonna get into some coaching, right? Because you guys are like home team for me, man, right? And by the way, I'm a Bucks fan all the way until I die. Just letting you guys know that's how much of a of a Bay Area cat I am. So that being said, I came into the country at age of 4, right? We're Colombian, and we came here as illegal immigrants, right? And we overstayed the visa, kind of very common story there, right? And unfortunately, by the time I was 8 years old, right? Well, check this out. Yeah, Bucks for life. Let's get it, baby. That's what I'm talking about. But when I came into this country, y'all, let me give you guys, because we all have adversities and things like that, right? When I came into this country at the age of 4, we lived in New Jersey. That's the first state that we went to. That's where my mom and dad was at, right? Dad had 2 Domino's pizzas out in flipping. He owned them things, right? But they were separated, and I kind of got, I kind of got dealt that hand that when dad separated from mom, he separated from us as well. You get what I'm saying? So I was living that life with my mom, and she was, a single immigrant lady, that was, what my mom used to do, she used to, get up very early and make tamales, right? And go out there and sell the tamales in the morning and stuff like that, right? And that's it, she used to do a lot of cleaning and stuff like that when I was small. I remember going from building to building all over New Jersey, right? And long story short, right? Dad got caught up in the drugs in the early 90s, lost both of his flipping Domino's, right? Pizzas and stuff like that he had in Jersey, and he moved to Florida, to Tampa. Matter of fact, he moved to flipping Gibsonton first, then to Ruskin, then to Wimauma, then to Tampa. Right, but we'll get back to that in a second, right? So I kind of grew up as a trailer park kid after this part of the story, right? That being said, at the age of 8 years old, right, the most tragic thing happened, and my mom, right? Remember, I met her at 4. At the age of 8, right, she got deported, right? Well, she didn't just get deported; she got caught with a bunch of marketing material, right, that just was illegal, right, at the time, and the U.S. government wasn't happy with that, Edward, so they shipped her out, right? They deported her. And that being said, me and my sister and my brother stayed behind at that point, right? And they shipped us to Florida, to Tampa. That's my introduction to like Wimauma and Gibsonton and all that stuff, and eventually moving up to Tampa. Now check this out. My dad was very bad gone on the other side. I'm talking about Edward, like, in a trailer park, bro, when they would go food shopping, mind you, I'm only 8 years old. My sister's like 12 or 13 at the time, right? Type of people, like when they went food shopping, they would go food shopping and lock the groceries up in their room type of thing. Like as if he had made a mistake that he had children type of thing. So needless to say, I kind of grew up on the streets. And you guys know how Tampa is, right? You guys know how St. Petersburg is, the south side of things. I grew up kind of like in a trap scenario type of thing. Long story short, By the time I was 18 years old, yeah, I done been in JD a few times, right? I done did all that growing up. I ended up going to over 63 schools growing up, right? Never got, always kicked out of schools, right? I was one of them kids that showed up to school just to get lunch because there wasn't no food at home. You know what I'm saying? I just cut in the butt, grab my food and get up out of there, so to speak, right? Now, that being said, man, that's crazy, right? That's nuts. But that being said, right, at that point of that point in life, right, 63 schools and whatever. I'm 18 years old now, right? We fast forward, we're 18 years old, and now me and my sister get deported. We used to live right there off the back of University Mall. You get what I'm saying? Over there, right? And those little, they probably still got them, but little apartments and stuff back there and whatnot. And we get deported. You know what I'm saying? Now, check this out. At 18 years old, I hadn't came out of doing little 2 years or whatnot in juvenile detention and stuff, right? No social security number, right? No birth certificate, no nothing, no ID. And I was just honestly, I don't know if you've ever felt this before. I was just sick and tired of being sick and tired. I didn't want to I didn't want to be illegal, and I didn't want to jeopardize my future. I'm like, man, there's some people that start off life, Edward, right, where they're at zero. And we got to build on top of that. Thank God for Primerica, right? I felt like my whole life we were negative, below zero. Does that make sense? So just being able to have a social security number, to me, that was just like, man, I'm good. You get what I'm saying? And at that point, we got deported and I got sent to Colombia. Mind you, I didn't grow up around the Spanish family, Spanish speaking family, salsa, none of that other stuff, right? I wasn't raised around it. I was raised literally in the hood. On the other side, like it was just retarded. But I get into, and this is why I'm gonna start dropping some jewels on you, right? I get deported to Colombia. And there's a big family there, right? That's receiving us. I never met these people, never spoke to them. Maybe I met them when I was 3, 2, and 1 years old, but I didn't remember them or whatnot. And we didn't have no communication. It wasn't like Facebook, social media, and stuff like that back in the early 90s. It's not that long ago. I'm not that old, right? But that being said, I get to Colombia, right? As me and my sister, my brother had passed away by this time, right? And there's a big family that's there waiting for us, speaking to us in the language, guys, that I don't even know, Spanish, right? And I mean, I understand, but I don't understand it. And then you know how it is, it's people that you just met, Edward, but you don't know them like that, but they're receiving you, they're giving us, they're hugging us and everything like that. Now, I obviously felt like very kind of like, who are you type of thing? Why are you welcoming me so much, right? Now, I want to stop there and give you guys this, right? If you're new on the call, that is exactly what happens to us when we come into Primerica, right or wrong, right? You get thrown into this environment, right? And the first thing is the language. The language that we speak in Primerica is completely different. It's business language versus the language that most people speak, right? What's the language that most people speak? Is employee language. Does that make sense? So people come into this business, right? And we're speaking to them like, yeah, champion, Gail, you can make it. You're going to be a champion, right? You're going to become a regional vice president. You're going to take over, right? And it's not that the environment is wrong. It's not that we're saying anything wrong, but it's just like this, right? If I grew up speaking English, when I get into a Spanish environment, I don't understand the message because I don't understand the language. Does that make sense? And for most people that come into Primerica, right, if we don't open our minds up, right, we keep them closed, we miss the opportunity, right? And so what we begin to do is we start to speak the business language when people are listening with employee ears. So what you want to do is make sure that first and foremost, you keep your mind open at all times as you move forward, right? You see, look, Edward understands the game at a different level. And while you know what I'm saying, he understands it at a different level. So he's speaking, when he's speaking to you, it may not sound like what he's saying is correct. You get what I'm saying? But you haven't learned that language yet, or you would be there. Does that make sense a little bit? But when we come into Primerica, what tends to happen is because we have such experience from the past, we bring it to the future and we say, well, it must be this. Well, it's not this. Kind of like when I went into Colombia, guys, like I was sitting there and I was acting like one of these thugged out American kids because that's the language that I knew from the environment that I was around. And they were receiving me with hugs. And how do you think that I received that? Man, get the hell from around me. Who are you? And how do we act? You get what I'm saying? So when we come into Primerica, it's a very loving environment, very hug up. And it doesn't mean that we're wrong. It's just that people don't understand that language. And we got to take time out to open up their minds sometimes, right? And help them understand that this is a different language, so to speak, right? So I stayed in Colombia for about 2 or 3 years. That's where I learned how to speak Spanish now. I learned how to write Spanish. Eduardo is teaching me how to dance, right? That man could dance with about 5 people at one time, right? I'm still seeing the patterns and stuff from when I seen him like 5 weeks ago and stuff. But anyway, sorry, that's a whole nother conversation. So I stay there, and the goal is to try to get legal. I don't want to, I love Colombia, but I don't want to make my life in Colombia because I wasn't raised there. In our reality, you get what I'm saying? That's not where I was at. So I'm dealing with a mental issue. You get what I'm saying? Now I leave Colombia and I meet my mom again at the age of 20, about 20 and 19, and she's in London. So I go live in London now for about 3 or 4 years, right? And in the meantime, I get married and come back to New York, right? Now, I don't know anybody in New York, y'all. I've never been in New York. This is not one place, but this the only opportunity that I had to get back into the United States. Does that make sense? And I was going to take it regardless what it was, right? So we get married and we come back to the States. I'm in New York, y'all, and I start filling out, resumes. Again, I ain't got no GED, no high school diploma, no college degrees, or nothing like that, right? And what does the society offer somebody who doesn't bring anything to the economy? Not much. You got to understand that as a builder, as a recruiter, as taking number one in recruiting, you see, most people, they don't offer much to the economy. They are very easily replaceable. That's why they get paid the minimum wage or whatever else people get paid. Does that make sense? So everyone's really looking for an opportunity. You just got to present it to them in a language where they can understand it. You get what I'm saying? And usually how that works is if we ask more questions, and people reveal why they need to be recruited. But anyway, that's another side of the training, right? So I get back into the States, right? And I automatically start looking. Now, check this out. This is another big point. My wife's side of the family, there's like 33 different girls in that family that all live on the same block in Bed-Stuy. Right. And if you know Bed-Stuy, right, it's a whole bunch of brownstones. So it's like a Mexican family that live in one trailer. Right. It's like, like they're all West Indian. They all live in one brownstone. Right. And it's crazy. So all 33 of them, check this out. Right. All 33 of them are in the medical field. All 33 of them are in the medical field at some different point. So when I start talking about getting a job, what do you think they tell me? Get into the medical field. It's the only place where you'll always be guaranteed it. That's what that circle said. You'll always be guaranteed a job because people always get sick. Now, check this out. I never thought about a job, nevertheless, growing up, right? I never thought about being in the medical field growing up, right? But because my circle around me at that point was in the medical field, they influenced me. So one of the big points that you should learn is this: proximity is power. The people that we keep in our circle is very powerful. They're either going to push us up or they're going to pull us down. Right? So if we say we want to become regional vice presidents, $1 million earners, who should be in our proximity? Not people to gossip with, not people that are negative about our opportunity, right? Because negativity is contagious. Does that make sense? So you hang around with them too long, then your mind, you can't get the right things out of being around the wrong people. So proximity is power, and it influenced me to go become an EMT. Right? One of those people that drive around in an ambulance. Now, I ain't never think about doing nothing like that in my life, right? That never crossed my mind. But I told you, I said one thing to myself when I got myself back on American soil. I said, if I ever, look, I gotta try become successful legally, because I know this, the way I grew up, y'all, I know the streets is always gonna be there. That's just the mentality that I had growing up. So I said, look, the second I get to become legal, I'm going to try to get this thing done. And so we started looking for a JOB, because that's the only thing, again, that's the only language that I knew. In my head, I could start saving money and maybe buy real estate in the future. And then, and then maybe, start generating income through that. That's the only thing I knew about becoming successful in business. So I started that JOB as an EMT, y'all. Now, I'm working like I've never worked before, like a dog. I ain't never had a job before. Harvey has a problem with authority. I don't know about you, but I don't like being told what to do. I don't like being limited on the type of money I can spend. I don't, you know, if I want to get up and travel, I want to get up and move, right? And I've always had this inside of me. So getting that job to me was one of the most difficult things, right? I was working about 50, 60 plus hours a daggone week, right? And we would wake up at 6. We would have to be at work at 6 in the morning to get out at 4. And I didn't have a car at the time, so I'd have to be up at 4, jump on public transportation to travel 30 minutes. That took me 2 hours, right? It was really a 30-minute ride that took us 2 hours. Now check this out, right? I'm still looking for another job at the time. You get what I'm saying? I'm still looking to make extra money at this time, right? Now, this is exactly what happens, right? I start resume hustling, sending my resume out to everyone. I get a call from somebody in Primerica. It was a cold call. It was a top 25 call. You get what I'm saying? What happened, one of my wife's cousins had ended up going to an opportunity meeting. He thought it was a joke. He put my name down. I didn't think it was a joke. The second they called me, this had a phone call where, hey, good afternoon. Can we speak to Harvey? Yeah, how you doing? Hey, I have your information on my desk. Is someone that's interested in looking for part-time or full-time work? Is that correct? Yeah, absolutely. What is it? Well, it's going to be an interview tomorrow around 7:30. In my head, I'm like, 7:30? I guess that's how they do jobs in America, right? So I show up to the meeting, right? The thing, and check this out, right? Everybody, I want to give you another point right there. You can't say the right things to the wrong people. You can't say the right thing. If I was the wrong person, like if you call me and give me that phone call right now, I say, man, go ahead, go on somewhere. You get what I'm saying? Go ahead on somewhere. But on the same token, right? You can't say the wrong things to the right people. And you probably heard that as well. You can't say the right things to the wrong people. It works both ways. At that point in my life, I was the right person. We was open, looking for more opportunity. Does that make sense? I show up to a meeting, they starting to do the presentation. I'm thinking this is the way people do job interviews in America. I'm like, okay, whatever, right? They say come back with $124. I can't even do it that night. That's how broke I was. I had to come back with a money order the next day. Now check it out, right? Most people wouldn't do that. Well, it is what it is. Anyway, we get started in Primerica. I cannot get field trained. I would have been the worst recruit because I didn't have a market, right? Everybody that we thought was going to give us support in the business, my wife's side of the family are like, man, I went through it. It's like, no, that's a pyramid. Everything you could think about Primerica. Oh, that's a pyramid. You're just getting into the States, man. That's MLM. They want you to recruit people. That's an illegal thing, man. I remember coming off the public transportation various times in the summertime, right? And in the summertime, broke people do what broke people do. They have broke people fun. You know what I'm saying? They either go, they drink out on the stoop, right? They playing cards and stuff like that in the street. They're rolling dice and stuff like that in Bed-Stuy. That's what they do. Broke people do broke people stuff, right? So I'm walking down the street with my uniform on, and here comes my sister's cousins. They printed out, guys, a whole thing on why Primerica won't work from a blog, right? And so at that point, I always showed up to training. There's no way I missed training, right? So I remember somebody in training saying this, look, man, if anybody ever tells you Primerica doesn't work, I want you to look at them and say, if Primerica doesn't work for me, I can always come back and be broke just like you. Now, with me, I have a mouth that I'm going to say whatever comes to my mind. And when they showed me that, I felt like they were slapping me in the face. Like somebody was really, like, imagine you tell somebody what you dream of doing and they tell you it's not going to work. See, where I come from, those are kind of like fighting words, right? So what I kind of said was like, I said the same thing they told me. I said, look, man, if Primerica doesn't work for me, I can always come back and be broke just like you, right? And I kept moving and I went upstairs and stuff like that and got ready, right? Now check this out. I'm not telling you to go do and say that, right? But if you feel obliged to, right, you got to keep negative people from your circle. You get what I'm saying? These are dream killers. You got to keep those people away from you, not forever, but for a certain amount of time until you get enough strength, until you go from having a wishbone to a backbone. Does that make sense? And you could kind of stand up for yourself. But in the meantime, if you're new and you're still looking for results and external validation, you may not want to keep those people that are killing your dreams in your circle at the time. All right. You may want to, be around people that are winning, that are going places. That makes sense. Right. So now we get into the field training mode, and I do not have nobody to go see. So nobody gets the chance to field train me. And that's when they say, well, listen, you know, Chris said, listen, you can start learning by just learning the fundamentals, start learning the basics. And they started putting me on to something called, you know, self-development. And I've never, ever, ever, like the only book I read before Primerica was John Gotti. that'll tell you a little bit about just John Gotti's biography, tell you a little bit about my mentality back then anyway. So that being said, y'all, when he started talking about this, right, Chris said this, look, you're going to have to do this for about 6 months in order for you to really start learning how to speak the language. So at that point, guys, I completely let go of everything that came, all the music. I didn't do what broke people did. Anything broke people used to do, I didn't do it. So if it was music on my iPad, music in the car, music on the way to the on the bus, I didn't listen to it. I didn't watch TV. I stopped playing Call of Duty on my PlayStation, right? I just stopped doing everything that broke people do. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, y'all, right? And we started prospects. So this is what I started doing because I started listening to Hector Lamarck. I started learning how to prospect. So every time I was on an ambulance, I'd either try to prospect my partner, or every time we went to a flipping hospital or a nursing home, right, I would speak to one of the nurses. And it's something simple. I'm like, hey, listen, have you spoke to one of the reps today? One of the reps on what? Well, listen, I have a career outside of what I'm doing as an EMT, right? And I would love to show you what I do. I just help people keep the same benefits, but it save more money. Are you interested in saving more money? Yeah, absolutely. Well, what's a good number to reach you on? And the goal was, what I use is I use my job, E, and I use what we had in Primerica and put them together to start building a market for myself. Does that make sense? And the other thing that I started doing is I started making all the phone calls in the world. Anywhere I found a number, man, I was prospecting and making phone calls. So I was actually double-digit recruiting before I even start having like 500 in premium, because that's all that I knew how to do was bring people to the op meeting, but I didn't know how to field train them at that point. Now, right, we're getting to a point where it's month end. It's not like turbo apps, right? And it's like around 6 o'clock and I'm working on an ambulance, y'all. And I'm taking this cat to Brooklyn Hospital. I got him on the back on the stretcher, E. I don't know if he's going to make it, right? But I'm giving his ass oxygen, right? And something occurred to me. I'm at 2,000 in personal premium. In my head, I'll never do 2,000 in personal premium again. I got to get 2,500 to go to district leader, man. And I got this cat squinching for breath right here in front of me. And you know me, man, I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, screw that. So I start talking to the cat. I'm like, listen, man, I know you're in a bad position, but I got another career, right? And I think you might benefit from having life insurance. You got life insurance. Oh, man, that's why I seen him do this, right? I think that's exactly what he did. And I'm like, look, I don't need much of your information because I already took down all your medical information right here, right? I'm going to run a quote for you, right? I had to call and get a quote, right? And before we got to the emergency room, that cat had life insurance. That's how I went to district leader, y'all. At that point, and I'm not telling you to go out and I'm telling you I was hungry. No, I gotta tell you what, I was starving. If you hungry, you're gonna look for food. I was starving. I mean, I need food on my plate. I need food in the refrigerator. I need grocery bags in the trunk. Like I was starving. You get what I'm saying? Like I wasn't hungry. I was starving. Does that make sense? At that point, when I went to district leader and Primerica paid me like $300, I said, man, this is, and pardon me, y'all, but this is what Harvey thought. I said, this is just like a legal hustle. How can I go speak to somebody and Primerica give me $300? Like that 300 just for speaking to somebody? I said, nah, man. So I switched my schedule because Jim Rohn said, look, you could work full-time on your job while you work part-time on your fortune. And when you work part-time on your fortune, eventually your fortune will make more money than your full-time job. So I said, all right, if Jim Rohn said it, and these cats are making million, let me switch my schedule. And this is why I went from knowing Primerica will work, from believing Primerica will work, and we all get there, we believe it works, till you get to a point where you know Primerica works. It's just a matter of time before you sign the contract. It's a matter of time before you get that promotion. I switched the schedule around, E, and I said, you know what? Well, now we're going to work from 12 midnight to 8 in the morning, because if I was hustling on the streets, I'd be damned if I don't go to hustle for myself, right? And I said, look, I work from 12 at night to 8 in the morning, and from 10 at night to 6 in the morning. The same strategy. And it wasn't time to go home and go to sleep when I got out of the ambulance. I probably, these guys will tell you, I'll go home and sleep for an hour. And if there was a meeting at 10 o'clock where it wasn't Zoom, I was right there. right? And I take all my equipment to the office. I'll stay there all day, make a bunch of invites, right? Because now I'm working part-time on my fortune, right? And if I could work part-time on my opportunity, eventually my opportunity can grow and surpass the money that they pay me on the ambulance. You get what I'm saying? So now is, again, if you guys have a job, is one of the most beautiful stories you can have, right? You work full-time at your job and you work your part-time opportunity with a full-time mentality. And eventually you'll get out of the job and you'll make more money here to replace that. You get what I'm saying? So we followed that same structure, guys. And I'll tell you what, man, I learned how to, this is a big part, right? I learned how to pay all my bills with my personal pen as a division leader. I learned how to pay my bills on my personal pen, my personal production as a division leader. And at that point, I let go of the job, right? I said, you know what? I don't need this. I don't need the struggle, right? I don't need people telling me what to do. And I went full time with Primerica as a division with only a life insurance license. No, I have failed my 6 and 63 like 3 times a piece at that point, right? And so now this is when things get a little bit real. I have my plan, like you have your plan. I think this God kind of challenged me, asking me, how bad do you want it, Harv? How bad do you want to become successful? As I go full-time in Primerica, my 27th birthday, right? It's crazy. My 27th birthday, man, show up Saturday morning training because we don't believe in this whole, oh, it's my birthday month. That's what broke people do. How the hell you take off a whole month? You know what I'm saying? So anyway, that's another conversation. But we show up to training early in the morning. I'm in the field all day, right? Because it isn't time to party. And that same night, what happens is, look, we get out of the field. There's a big celebration going on, right? With my wife's side of the family, somebody had a birthday and they at this church, right? This might be why I don't go to church, E. I'm just playing. Mind me, I'm very joyful, but you'll see why in a second. So I go to church, right? And in the midst of the church, we're partying, they're dancing. A big fight breaks out between my sister-in-law and some cat that they know from kindergarten. Big fight, a guy and a girl. So I run over there and I'm separating everything, E. And in the midst of separating the fight, I get stabbed, bam, in the stomach, bam, bam, right? In the worst part that you can get stabbed in. I wake up 2 weeks later, 22 blood transfusions, 18 major operations. I'm hooked up to every monitor that you could think about, right? No food. I'm all drugged up. You'll see something in a second, right? And as I'm waking up, I don't recall much of anything, right? But I'll tell you what, as a division leader, as I look to as the doctors are coming in, right, and the doctors are saying, man, we don't know if this guy is going to make it, right? 22 blood transfusions. Nobody ever goes through that, right? In that short of a period of time, right? My intestines, my organs and everything is outside of my stomach, right? And everything. And I'm sitting there and the doctors, every day I'm having a surgery. So the doctors come around 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, E, and they, they look at you and they say, man, he might make it. He has surgery today. We got to do this to this body, you know what I'm saying? And all that. And I'm hearing them, right? And they're saying, man, we don't know if this guy's going to be able to walk again, because where the knife hit me is the main arteries that go to your legs, the main arteries that pump blood to your organs. We don't know if this guy's going to be able to walk, if when he wakes up, if he's going to remember everything. We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen to this guy right here, right? He's literally on that miracle sheet that we have. As I'm doing all of that, mind you, I ain't got no mom, no dad, no family up here and everything like that, right? I look to the side and guess who's there on the other side of the room? Chris H.R. Now, I ain't make no money for Chris at this point. You get what I'm saying? And Chris hears these people, right? And as he hears these people because it's a glass room, right? And he hears these people, and as they walk out, the doctors walk out, Chris walks in and he's like, dude, don't listen to what these doctors are saying, right? They're just going by what they read in the book. You've been self-developing. You've been working on positive thinking. This is where you need to start positive thinking. This is where you need to start believing in everything you read in those books. This is where you need to start being more in your head. Don't listen to what they say. You're going to get out of this. You're going to be all right. You're going to be a vice president. It's going to work out for you, Harv. Right? This is why. Now, listen, I ain't make no money with my vice president at the point. Chris is human. Chris does shit that I'm telling you. Chris is human. He messes up just like each and everybody else, like everybody else. This is why I believe it's so important for you to have a merger with your upline. Our uplines are not flipping in. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I'm not superhuman. I'm going to mess this thing up every now and then. But I think it's so flipping retarded how we hold our uplines to a standard that we don't hold ourselves to. You get what I'm saying? But check this, you got to have a merger with your upline. That right there, E, let me know that Chris was a rider for me. And I said, you know what? It don't matter what you do, bro. You're human just like I'm human. I'm gonna make sure I get out of this on the other side. Yo, Chris, bring me all my books, bring me all my presentations, right? Bring me my study material, and I promise you, I'm gonna get out of here, and we're gonna become regional vice presidents. His first thing, man, you ain't got to worry about that. It's all gonna work out. Chris, bring me my stuff, right? And because I wasn't eating, my little table right there became my little library. Right? And check this out, right? While I was in the hospital, the team was still doing 20 by 20,000 as a division leader. So when they were going to leadership schools, we was taking number one, and they would bring number one into my room. Check this out, right? Now, every time a nurse came in the room, they're, wow, what do you do? Right? And I'm hooked up to every machine. So I learned how to do napkin presentations. In the 6 months that I'm in ICU, I averaged 2,000 in personal premium. You get what I'm saying? While we sitting there doing the net, how bad do you want it? Does that make sense, right? And I'm studying every single day, and I'm reading, I'm working on myself because I can't do anything else while I'm in the deathbed, right? I hooked up my little G1 phone, my Google phone to the bed, right? And I'm studying for my serious exams every single day, right? And it came a day, right, E, and again, my chief trauma surgeon, she's my direct client as well, right? Because I learned how to do those napkin presentations really good. And it comes a day before my oldest son's birthday. And he says, and he's like, look, you can go home for a couple of hours, Harvey, but you got to come back because your intestines are still out. You're still, you're very bad. You're in very bad shape. And what I did is I told you guys, I made a commitment. I tell you, I'm going to drop some jewels on you and say, I made a commitment to go to regional vice president, right? I said, you know what, man, instead of going home, you know what I'm finna do? I called FINRA and I tell them my situation. They spoke to the chief surgeon. So that day when they let me out the hospital, E, I went straight to go take my 6 and my 63. And I passed both of them things. I came back to the hospital that night with my 6 and my 63, and I passed them both with 90s. Now check this out, right? Some of the stuff that I'm gonna tell you is as real as it can get, man. I almost made the biggest mistake in my life if I would have died. If I would have died, I would have made the biggest mistake of my life, right? First and foremost, right, I had let my life insurance policy lapse before I went into that hospital. I don't know who needs to hear this, right? But if your ass got a life insurance policy that slaps, go get a $15 policy or something. You know your birthday, you don't know your death date. Go do yourself that favor. You don't know when your time is coming. I don't mean to scare you, but hey, it is what it is. The second thing is this. I felt like I got caught slipping. You know how people get caught slipping in life, E, right? This is how they get caught slipping in life, right? They'll sit there, and by the time they're 60, they'll stop dreaming. They'll stop going after their goals. They'll stop being, ambitious at the age of 25, right? And they say they get buried at the age of 65, or at the age of 65, they're in a relationship that they don't want to be in. They're living in a house that they don't want to live in. The life that they have around them, they don't want to have that life. The health that they have, they got caught slipping. And now it's too late at the end of the road. And what I say, man, I almost got caught slipping in life. I had this beautiful opportunity like Primerica. I could have became a regional vice president. Had I died, my kids wouldn't have a business in place. Had I died, my kids, you get what I'm saying? My kids would have to start from the same position, even the worst position that I started in, because I took this opportunity for granted, y'all. Because I wasn't working to the full of my potential. Because I was still acting like a little kid, not like a grown adult. I got caught slipping with Primerica, and I came out of that hospital, man. Listen, when they let me out, I said, I ain't gonna get caught slipping again. Everybody around me, as soon as I came out of the hospital at 114 pounds with an ostomy bag on my stomach. I'm 185 flat. 114 pounds, E. I come out of, what do you think everybody around me is telling me? Harvey, stay home. Focus on your health. Harvey, stay home. Primerica brainwashed you. It's not all about money. I said, hell no, ain't none of you cats help me pay none of my bills. When I was in the hospital, while I was in the hospital, we made $13,000 with Primerica. It's not a lot of money, but when you ain't got nothing, 13,000 is a lot. When your job that you had critical insurance or disability insurance, right? They're supposed to be paying you and they don't pay you and you're behind on bills. $13,000 was a lot. It helped me stay afloat. And I said, you know what, man, if I'd have died, right? If I'm to die, I told Chris this, if I'm to die on my next surgeries, I'm going to make sure we get this RVP contract. So back to the hustlers mentality, back to hugging the block, y'all. 7 o'clock in the morning, I'm prospecting at every school, elementary school around here, right? If any parents are dropping off kids, I'm running up on a parents' E and I say, hey, listen, have you spoke to any one of the representatives? No, what do? I'm in charge of teaching all the parents who have kids that come to this school how to get college funds and how to have the right life insurance. What's a good number to reach you on? Oh, you live in the area? What's the street that you live on, guys? And that's why when I got on here, I said, you got to get breakfast. That's what I call getting breakfast, damn it. By the time everybody else is waking up, I already got 10 new names and numbers, five new appointments. You get what I'm saying? I don't care. I didn't have warm market. So the only thing I could do was cold, because where there's a will, there's what? A way. Don't feel like you're trapped by your self-limiting beliefs. You feel me, right? So we went out there, guys, the first month out the hospital at 114 pounds, doing appointments where my ostomy bag is falling on the client's couch or on the client's table, right? And I have to clean everything up, doing the presentation, right? I close and I go to the next appointment. I could have went home, sat there, cried and bitch and moan about the situation or my health or how I felt dizzy or how I had to take all this medication. No, but you know what? My goals were bigger than my fear. You get what I'm saying? You gotta get to a point where your goals are so big, they're audacious, that they motivate you, they move you. Does that make sense? I wasn't finna sit there and just die on out and shrivel up like a little raisin. It was my time. Guys kept me here. First month, we did 11 by 11,000 personal, right? And the rest of the team did another 20 by 20. We pre-qualified our first month at the hospital, right? To go to regional vice president. The next month, we do the same thing again. And I'm telling you guys, I had all the reason to stay home. Body aches, you get what I'm saying? Like cramping up, 114 pounds with a high, what was it? A high dosage fistula, meaning nothing stayed in my stomach. As soon as I drink something, it comes right out into the bag. No nutrition. Like I can't even do one push-up. I'm around here walking like a crackhead trying to sell life insurance. Second month, we do another 11 by 11, another 20 by 20. We qualify for regional vice president. I become Chris's third RVP to go to SVP. I go to regional vice president with one license. We gave up all the replacements that we had, and I still owed him one after RVP. I said, you know what, Chris? First thing I'm gonna do, well, I'll tell you guys a fun part of the story, right? We went a trip to Universal Studios, and I'm sitting there. I ain't never been to Universal Studios, although I lived in Florida all my life. We was too broke to go to Universal, too broke. And I asked my doctor, can I fly down to Florida? Yeah, you're good, man. You're fine. All right, cool. I get down to Florida. I call him again. Can I get on the rides at Universal Studios? Like, would anything happen? Right. And to me, I'm a little kid in Universal. Like, I ain't never been there. Like, yeah, you should be all right. So I remember Chris pushing me in the wheelchair to flip in Universal Studios, right? Because I couldn't walk. My legs, man, they're slit, man. If you see me under here, I'm all cut up like Frankenstein, right? And he's pushing me in the wheelchair, right? And as soon as I see the Incredible Hulk, I swear they looked that way. I was up and out. Pew! I ran straight to the Incredible Hulk. As soon as I get out of there, man, that thing messed my whole body up. They had to rush me to an emergency operation. Right? It was so right. But to me, guys, to me in my head, look at the way a winner thinks, right? To me, that was God working in mysterious ways. To me, you get what I'm saying? I was more focused on the positive things than the negative things. To me, what I looked at, I was like, man, I was supposed to get my closing surgery 9 months from now. Thank God I went on the Incredible Hulk, because they had to make an emergency closing. I was getting so depressed mentally with all the things I had to do medically to keep myself up and above. And I said, you know what? Nah, that's cool. I'll go through this right now. And we went there again. I got out of there again. I had to rebuild with one license. In the main mission, I said, you know what? The only difference is licensing. I ain't got 100+ licenses in my downline. That's why I ain't got a business that pays me without having to go to work. So I went to work on that mission, guys. And you fast forward now, right? That's about 7, 8 years ago, right? You fast forward now, we promoted 3 regional vice presidents, over 130, 40 licenses in the base, right? Over about 190 in the hierarchy right now. You know what I'm saying? One of the RVPs has their ring. And I'll tell you what I did, man. I've literally taken off the last 3 years from my business, have not been in the field, been enjoying my kids every single damn day, right? I eat where I want to eat. I travel where I want to travel, when I want to travel. I do what I want to do, when I want to do it, right? Now, I'm not saying I'm done with Primerica, not like that, but I needed to take time out for me. I don't know what it's going to be for you, right? But what it was for me, this is what we did. Does that make sense? Let me share this PowerPoint with you so you can get more of a visual real quick, and we'll get into some stuff. So hopefully, you know, you're there in your chairs. Try not to take pictures if you want. If you shouldn't, right? Don't post them, please. Don't post them. This is for you and your team. E, have much love and respect for you guys. Right? Come on. This is how I came home. Right? If you got a soft stomach, you might want to turn the other way. Right? This is me, right? We all have a story. Let me tell you, I don't know your story, and I would love to know your story. But I tell you what, nobody cares about your story until you bounce back up from it. Because if you're just telling me a story without you doing anything about it, we're just having a pity party, right? We're just gossiping. We all have a damn story. Nobody cares about your story until you get up and go win. Yeah, you had it hard, so did I. So what? What are you going to do about it? Yeah, so what? Your upline said something pissed you off. So what are you going to do about it? Yes, so what? Somebody quit on you. Yes, so what? You know, your lights got turned off. You got cars repoed. So what? Nobody cares about that until you go out and go win. Other than that, you're just another story like everybody else, y'all, right? This was me in the hospital in the ICU, right? I tell you guys, my stomach was all bloated. Everything was out right here. That's why that stomach was like that. Also got stabbed in the forearm right there. It was my first day home, right? Right here with all that. This is how I was on appointments. You can't tell me you can't go to regional vice president. See, winners don't get paralyzed by obstacles. You get what I'm saying? Whatever obstacle you're dealing with, overcome that shit. We all can become successful here. It's enough. The universe is abundant enough. There's enough success for each and every one of us to go out here and win. The one all the way to the right is the last day when I got out of Universal Studios or whatnot. And they closed my little stomach up. This is what happened within those 2 months, right? We got promoted to RVP at Universal, like I told you, right? I still had the bag on in my stomach right here. I'm actually holding the plaque next to my bag so the bag doesn't fall down. We win the future in those 2 months. You get what I'm saying? Look, winners tend to look at setbacks, right, as failures and opportunities to help them do better. Whatever the little setback is that you're dealing with, look at it as an opportunity for you to get better. You got to, as a leader, guys, do a favor for yourself in your life. Master the art of bouncing back. Whatever it is that you're confronted with in life is only there to make you better. It's only there to make you grow. Grow through it. Don't just go through it. Does that make sense a little bit to you? You feel me? Right? And this is, you know, last year, right? MVP, right? Those cats right there. When I got the second diamond, are now RVPs. That's my office manager. That's the first regional vice president there, Sherwin and Hannah, right? They just got their ring, right? And now we're SVP, right? And that's that, right? And this goes into another little message. Right. But I'll leave you guys with a few little things. And if you want, we can hang out and do some questions and answers. Right. But look, I'll tell you this, right, guys, we got to put aside the distractions when you're building the Primerica business. Once it's built, you can go focus on these distractions if you want. But if you want to change something about yourself, you got to be willing to take full responsibility. I wasn't waiting for a Chris A. Chong or for my teammates to go do what I knew I had to go do, even if I had what I had going on. You got to put aside the distractions and take full responsibility. Because look, the final forming of you becoming a regional vice president, it lays in your hands. Not your vice presidents, not in Primerica's, not in your environment. It lays in your hands solely. You got to take ownership of that. The final character, the final regional vice president version of yourself, it lays in your hand. It's right there in your fingertips, not anybody else, not nobody else. You got to take complete responsibility of your business. And you'll be more likely, right? This is what happens when you don't take complete responsibility of your business, of your life, you're more likely to blame other people. You're more likely to blame the system. You start complaining about everything, right? And you start saying, and you start looking at things, right? It's not actually doing anything, right? It's not actually doing anything to change things around you for the better. See, the reason you got to take full responsibility for your business is because of this. You and I ain't got no control of anybody else but ourselves. It's just that simple. That's why you got to take responsibility for your business, right? Because blaming others or making excuses, right? It ain't going to solve your problems, and it ain't going to allow you to grow as the person you need to be to become a regional vice president. And I get it. It's natural to engage in the blame game, but don't beat yourself up over that crap. As long as you're aware of your behavior, you can limit the shift of your energy. You got to be aware of your negativity. You got to be aware of the words that are coming out of your mouth. Even if it's a bad situation, detach yourself from it. Look back a little bit and shift your energy to things that matter, that are going to help you get to where you need to be. It's only when, guys, it's only when we take full responsibility of our business, right, that I feel that we discover how powerful we are. That's the only, when you take full responsibility, right? The key is this: take responsibility, and the other word is initiative. You got to decide where your life is. You got to decide, right? You got to decide how you prioritize your business and the things that are important around your business, not for the rest of your life, but for maybe the next 2 or 3 years. Decide what it is, what's more important, right? There's an expiration date. As an adult, I look at it like this, right? There's an expiration date on the blaming game. You see, when you're 18, you can't be 55 and still blame your parents, can you? There's an expiration date on that. Like, bro, you had, you went through your 20s, your 30s, and you still blaming your parents? There's an expiration date on you blaming your upline or the environment for you steering in the wrong direction. The moment you're old enough in this business to take the wheel, the responsibility lies on you. Not anybody else, on you. So you got to put aside the distractions. That's one thing. The internet, if you're not using it to build, it's a distraction. You get what I'm saying? The phone's a distraction. Your friends, you get consumed by that shit if you want to. They ain't going to be there for you when you got to pay the bills. It's a damn distraction. Your family, you love them and all that, but get consumed with all that if you want to. The time is going to pass by, 2 or 3 or 4 years will pass by, and you'll figure out why this thing ain't working. You get what I'm saying? So that's just one thing. The next thing is you got to learn your craft. You got to become a master at any skill that your uplines put in front of you. You got to become a master at that skill. See, it takes total effort. It takes total effort of your heart, your mind, your body, your soul, all of that working together. You got to immerse yourself in Primerica. You got to immerse yourself in being number one. You got to immerse yourself in the environment. You got to go to work. See, nobody limits your growth except you. See, if you want to earn more, you want to learn more, that means you'll work harder for a certain while, not forever. It means you'll work hard for a certain while. That means this: you'll go to work longer for a while, but you'll get paid right, for your extra effort now, and all that effort now. You'll get paid way more for that down the road. You get what I'm saying? That's exactly how this thing works. Every evening, try to do this. Try to write down the 6 most important things you got to do the next day. Right? So that if you work consciously when you're up, you should be working subconsciously when you're asleep. So make sure the last thing that we do is write down our goals, where we want to go, right? And the next day it'll go much more smoothly. It'll go way more easier, right? Guys, if you stop training, check this out, and then you stop learning, in Primerica, you start sinking. You guys get that? That's exactly what happens. And nobody around us can stay afloat. That's not how it works. That's not how, I've never seen it work like that. You're either rising or you're sinking. You got to continue to learn. You get what I'm saying? One of the things that I learned is like our income never surpasses our self-growth. Our income never surpasses our self-growth. So you got to continue to train. You got to continue to learn what's going on. The only difference is this, right? The only difference is this, is you can either rise or you can sink a whole lot faster now than you did before. That's the only, you can either get to the top a lot faster or you can get all the way to the bottom a lot faster. You pick your poison. You get what I'm saying? Start dominating your fears. I'll leave you guys like this, man. Look, because we all have certain fears and stuff, right? What am I sharing with you guys? What are you guys seeing? How come my bad. Damn. My bad, yo. I ain't know if you guys see me if I was just talking. Shit, my bad. Technology ain't for everybody, right? But take a step closer to what you fear, is what I'm trying to tell you. A step closer into what you fear is at least a mile in towards a mile closer and you hitting your target. You get what I'm saying? A step closer into doing what you fear, a step closer into speaking to that person or making that phone call. It's a mile stride that you made towards hitting your flipping target or your mission. But other than that, like, I try to be respectful of the time, give you guys some bars this morning and speak to you guys. We can open it up for questioning and answering, however you guys want to go about it. I'm here, bro. You let me know what you want to do, man.
Bro, that was freaking awesome. Awesome. I think we went through all the emotions in this one. We laughed, we smiled, we cried, we got depressed, came out of depression, got back in it, got out again, got in it one more time, came out. Right. So man, really, really, really appreciate you guys. So we'll open it up for questions. So guys, we'll take 2 to 3 questions. I don't know anyone. Harvey definitely has dealt with major adversity. So great way to. You guys have any questions? No? Any of the RVPs? No? Okay.
Participation is big, y'all.
Hey, Harvey, can you hear me?
I can hear somebody.
Hey, what's up, man? Hey, my name is Jay, bro. I was gonna ask you, bro. When you were in the business and you were doing everything was going good, man, then you hit a slump. How did you pull yourself out of that, man?
Hey,
talk to me.
Let me give you something real quick, right? Let me find something out. I want to say it the right way for you. I know what I want to say, but I want to make sure I say it the right way for you. Right? Let me tell you this, right? First and foremost, you can't leave no back door open mentally, right? Don't leave you gotta allow, if you leave a back door open, it allows you to procrastinate, right? If you got to make a decision to say, I'm going to be extraordinary and nothing less. You know what I'm saying? That's it. And what we do, you got to act authentically. You see, when you don't act with integrity towards yourself and you start saying you're going to do something and you don't do it, you lay in a mental rut. Does that make sense? So what happens with most people, right, when that happens is this, right? Is this. It's going to get very deep for you, right? They could leave it outside. We either live in our past, and this is what happens with most people, right? We either operate from our past or we're ran from our past, things that happened in the past. And that's how we operate in the business. So most people, right, what they do is they mentally, they look at things in their past and they let it run their future. Does that make sense a little bit? So at that point, what you're doing is, look at it like this. What we do is we pick up doo-doo, poop, shit, right, from the past, and we bring it to the future and we walk around with it. Hold on, I think the food is outside. One second. Hello, good morning.
Go get it, bro. Go get it.
No. Yeah, just leave it on the doorstep. That's fine. Just leave it in the front, man. Thank you.
You go get it if you want, bro.
It's cool, man. It'll still be there in a few minutes. Nobody gonna take it. I don't live in the hood no more, bro. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Nobody gonna take it. It's cool. So yeah, that's kind of, so what I do is this. I have a saying, right? If you feel like you're depressed or not doing anything and your business is slowing up, go make 100 phone calls. Don't worry if these people say yes. Don't worry if they say no. You got to do the work for yourself. That makes sense. You're creating an environment mentally where it's just work that you need to do. That makes sense. So I would sit down and don't gossip with anybody, right? Probably just only talk to people that have a financial interest in you. And I'm telling you what's real, because if you go talk to somebody else who isn't winning, that shit is contagious. And now you start having a pity party. So go work with somebody that's operating at a higher level than you. You get what I'm saying? And invest more in yourself. Invest more work ethic, more phone calls in yourself, more reading, more audios, more positive things. Because what happens is we're letting the negative dominate the positive. And we can't operate like that, right? We're at a conflict mentally. We're not incongruent with our goals. You get what I'm saying? We say one thing and our actions are another thing. You got to align those things up. And when they're not in alignment, we all get into a mental situation where it's dark. All right. So you got to align that work ethic with the words that come out of your mouth, because we create the future by what we say and how we act. And that's kind of like how I work on those things. Blessing y'all this morning, bro.
I appreciate that, bro. I appreciate that, man.
Let's
Talk
get it.
to me, man. Thank you.
Let's get it.
Yeah, man, I just want to thank you, honestly. You're actually one of them. You empowered me, man. I want to thank you, and I just want to say I can't wait till I meet you one day.
Appreciate you, bro. I'll be down there in a couple of days, man. I'll be down there. I'll be down there about the 20th or the 21st or something like that.
Perfect, bro. I'll meet you.
Harvey, what's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, what's up, Brendan? How's life, man? Everything's good, bro.
Everything's great, buddy. Everything's great. Hey, man, great job on the training. That was awesome, man. That's definitely something that we all needed to hear. And man, we've always been intrigued with your story and where you come from as well. One of the questions that I have for you, man, is we have a whole lot of new people on this call, whether it be 30 days, 60 days, 90 days in. Man, what's some advice you would give them as far as getting off to a fast start and obviously advancing as fast as possible, man? What would be your plan of action? Man,
I think if you want to become a winner, you got to learn how to become a dreamer again. That's one of the things that, most of us don't know how to do, right? We're bound by our self-limiting beliefs. But I think getting out in the next 24, 48 hours, right, and doing more than what you've done in the last 24, 48 hours will help you pick up the momentum. That makes sense. So whatever you were supposed to do, if you were trying to book an appointment and you didn't do it, you should go do that in the next 24, 48 hours, right? If you were to get a recruit last 24, 48 and you didn't do it, go do that in the next 24, 48 hours. And you outwork your weaknesses. You get what I'm saying? You outwork the weaknesses. So if it's not you doing it and it's your upline doing all the stuff, put him in front of more people, put her in front of more people, right? Commit to that again, right? Most people only do enough, right? But enough is not enough to win. Does that make sense? You got to go above and beyond for yourself. Understand that this is a tangible business, right? The more that you put into it, the more that it's going to grow eventually. Look, if you take care of your Primerica business now as a new person, right, it will take care of you on the back end, right? I always looked at it like this, right? As a new person, and I speak to people like this, it's like, look, man, the work that we put into Primerica is very little in comparison to the amount that Primerica is going to be taking care of us. So for example, if we got to go to work 2 to 3 years, day in and day out for this business to pay you $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 in income every month and overrides, the overrides are going to last 10, 15, 20, 30 plus years. Follow the system. Follow the system. Every business has that process. There's steps, that process of making it grow. So the steps to winning are no different for you guys than it is for us. Just get more recruits, man. Field train more people. I mean, it's the same thing, right?
Appreciate it, brother. I appreciate it, man. That was exactly what we wanted to hear right there, man. Just cool, get the field trainer and make sure that you put people in front of that field trainer if you're not ready. So that's awesome, man. Thank you so much, bro.
Anytime, man. Thanks for being on, Eric.
All right. I know, is Coach Ed, are you going to come on and say anything? Usually. This is our
NSD. Harvey, ¿qué pasó?
Hey, ¿qué
Ed? Hey. Hey, oye, te la comiste, papito, te la comiste. I am so proud of you. That was absolutely awesome, man, what you brought to the table, And that's why I love this Zoom technology, man, because I'm telling you, I probably would not have heard your story or get to know you. I mean, the way you brought it in today, man, it was absolutely, major impact. And I know there's a lot of folks on this call that you have touched their heart, because you touched mine, man. I'm telling you. I look at it and say, damn, that's what winners are all about, man. That's what this thing is all about. It's about overcoming those situations and just pulling forward. And the way to do it is through that mental toughness and also always self-improving. So, man, I congratulate you and just let you know, man, que, hey, tu casa, esta es tu casa. You're from Tampa, bro, and this is where we're at. So anytime you're down here, hey, like we always say, mi casa es su casa. So you come down here, bro, and we're going to, we truly appreciate that entire organization, not only you, but where you come from, with H-On and Keith Autos and all that stuff. Those are dear to our hearts, and we're all aligned on the same track there. So thank you so much, man. I really, truly appreciate you and everything you brought to the table, man. Hey, I remember that 2012 Universal, because I remember seeing you over there and saying, who the heck is this guy with that, walking around hurt like that? But I didn't know your story, man. And hey, surely appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. And Edward, thank you for putting this whole thing together, man. That was absolutely phenomenal. So, Edward, I pass it back to you, brother. Awesome job. Both of you, everyone here, man. Love you guys. Proud of you guys. So, Edward, you got it, brother. You got it. Close us out, man. Let's do this
right.
thing. Harvey, let's stay in touch.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll do it.
Alrighty, yes, sir. All right, man. So everybody, good old fashioned, unmute yourself and everybody.
Let's go. Thank you, Harvey.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. That
go.
was
Here we go.
amazing. I love your story, man.
Y'all ready for this one? I'll close
So
this bad
cool.
boy down. Come on. On the
Thank
count
you.
of three. On the count
That's
of
my
three.
SVP.
Here we go. You ready? 1, 2, 3. We are.
Hey.
Working and look forward to hearing from you guys. All right, we'll see you.
Appreciate it, guys. Take care.
You got it, Harvey. Thank you much, man.
Bye.
Bye-bye.